Hi everyone, Captain Amazing here, and today I want to talk about the state of Grand Arena. So let's jump into it. This morning in my drive-in, I watched a Nuge 2 Good video where he kind of went on a long rant about Grand Arena and the state of it. And I wanted to comment on his video, but I was like, you know what? I think what I want to say it would take too long. Like it's too much for me to just like type in a comment. But I do understand his viewpoint of how he feels about Grand Arena right now. So right now, if we look at generally what we expect for these leagues, it's a lot different than what, and he said 9 months, 9 months ago, of what carbonite looked like, or bronzium, or chromium, or rhodium, or kyber. I actually created a video where I talked about Grand Arena strategies, and I created it about like 10 months ago. And recently someone commented on it and was like, that is some BS. He's like, I'm in chromium, and whatever I said about chromium was not what it was like. He's like, I haven't seen an account like you described in forever. And I was like, well, brother. I was like, hey, I made that video like 9 months ago. Of course, the state of the game is going to change. I don't think Grand Arena has changed. I don't think Grand Arena has changed at all. What has changed is our perception of what we are seeing in Grand Arena compared to what our expectations are. Because before in Kyber 1, you kind of expected them to have everything. In Kyber 2, at the top of Kyber 2, you expected them to be close to Kyber 1-ish, maybe not engage as much datacrons, maybe they're missing some key things. The bottom of Kyber 2, not as competitive. Kyber 3, you saw a lot of accounts that were missing a lot, like an absolute ton. And then Kyber 4, Rhodium 5, etc. You saw players that just didn't know what they're doing. They could have a lot in there, but they were just like very not well played accounts, and etc. Like you go down in all these leagues and you did not expect that much. So if you had like one GL ship, you can push up into Chromium. When I first hit Kyber, I had two GL ships, and it was like SLKR, Ray, Leviathan, and Executor, and that was it. Like that's all I had. And I hit Kyber 5 about a year ago, or Kyber 4, I guess, and that was a much different game mode than what it is now, because Kyber 2 and Kyber 1 held all the massive accounts. Now what has changed isn't Grand Arena in itself. It's exactly the same. There's nothing different except for like some notable things, but we'll go over that later. But the biggest thing that has changed is the squish has pushed all those players out of Kyber 1 into Kyber 2 and Kyber 3, and then now Kyber 4 and Kyber in Erodium is filled with massive accounts, like accounts that you're that should not be there, of what our expectations of what an account should look like. So if you look at my at my competitors, and I did okay. I'm so far I'm in the graduate, or I'm in the championship round. I won my 2 matches, and these opponents, they have massive accounts. They have everything. They have 12 million plus GP. They have all the GLs. They have all the GL ships. They have datacrons. This one's okay. But these guys are massive accounts, and this is very normal for me. This is the average experience that I have in the game. Oh, this one's missing Leviathan, for shame, and TIE Defender. But this is what I expect in the game now, is that they are going to be having that. My opponents are going to have everything, and I'm not going to have an advantage. That's what my viewpoint is. That's what I think. That's what I go into for this game mode. And I don't get burnt out of Grand Arena because every single match that I play, I go in and learn a lesson. Like whether it was a counter, whether it was like maybe I need to farm something, or maybe get certain types of datacrons, or maybe my fleets or my strategy needs to change. But every time I go into these matches, I learn something. And I know that's not everyone's account, because my account is a little bigger, it's a little more developed. I've been playing for 3 years, so I was able to but that was my mind frame. When I was in Kyber, low Kyber, and I was struggling with these big accounts, I would get stuck on like Leia or JMK or whatever it is. And I was like, okay, what do I need to build in my account so that I can counter these things? And I make a defense that, although is kind of easy in some ways, like this is a, let me hide my face real quick. This is just a Qui-Gon, but like I have a Leia, a Zori, a Qui-Gon, a General Grievous, and then on the back I just have some junk with a Rey. The top is complete junk, and back here I have Leviathan and Executor. And what I do is I give my opponent opportunities to lose, and I try to beat them as clean as possible. So some of these rounds I win on the ground, like, believe it or not. And you may say like, okay, yeah, I full cleared this guy very, very clean. I think I dropped one battle maybe in ships or something, but the big thing is it doesn't matter if you are punching up, if you're, there are strategies where you, yeah, I purposely burnered this and then beat it with finalizer because I knew I had some flexibility, because he dropped on my ground somewhere, I believe. Did he? No, he didn't. It was clean. So I just didn't think he was going to be as clean on fleets, which he wasn't, and I got the win that way. So yeah, but either way, I take a lot of my roster, like 90%. I put a decent fleets defense. I put 2 GLs down, some okay datacron defenses, and then the vast majority of my roster I'm taking on offense. And I use off meta counters on ships to be able to beat all the fleets, and that allows me to have a better mind frame for Grand Arena, because if since I'm playing these massive accounts, it doesn't matter to me even if I'm constantly punching up, because I'm always full clearing them. And if I do lose, I lose through efficiency, and it doesn't feel as bad. So that's what I do. I have a more offensive strategy where I put some key things on defense that give my opponents opportunities to lose, and then I full clear my opponent and win off efficiency. So is that the best way to go? I don't know. Everyone's a little different. And the reason I do that, and you may say like, well, you have a big account, it's 10.6 million. And yeah, my account is okay, but like I did a little like thought experiment, and because I was thinking about like, what am I facing and how big of a difference is it at like 10.6 compared to like 12 or 13 million GP. And I formed all the teams that I'm missing, and I'm not like saying like crappy teams that are absolute straight junk, but like decent teams that you may use. And I'm missing 22 teams. So 22 teams I don't have that my opponent has, that are missing like Zetas, unlocks, like a lot of stuff. So that's a big deal. 22 teams is a lot of teams that I don't have, that if I had all these, I could put like a very good defense and use off meta counters. So I don't get me wrong, I have an extreme advantage or disadvantage just like you guys do. And I don't have the Marauder built up too, because I don't have Lord Vader. So and that's the key one way to beat the Leviathan or the Executor, with punishing one on defense. So I also don't have all the things, but I do my best. I learn from my mistakes. I learn from like challenges that I have, and I go in with the understanding that honestly I don't care if I win or lose anymore. I don't, and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't, and because this game is designed to make you win 50% and lose 50%. So if I was upset half the time I played, then it's not really a game that's going to be great to play long term. So try to have a mind frame that just do your best, learn from your mistakes, and find something that you really love in this game that's other than Grand Arena. Because my passion for this game, believe it or not, is not Grand Arena. I like Grand Arena. I like playing people. I like full clearing my opponents. I like using off meta counters to beat my opponent as efficiently as possible. But also, I like account building. I like being efficient. I like maximizing my resources. I love building mods. I'm a huge mod guy. So recently I bought all the Lightspeed bundles, not all of them, but a good amount of them. And yeah, I bought these Lightspeed bundles, and I got 200k GP like that. It was like close to 250, and it lowered my mod score by zero 0.3. And then a few days later, I worked my mods, and my mod score went up another 0 0.2. So I lost 0.1% in my mod score. But you know, because I love working on mods. I had a great mod week, and usually I more often than not, I have great mod weeks because I do a statistics based system. So yeah, it's not that big of a deal. So that's my passion. That's what I love. That's what I keep logging into this game, is building, making content about efficiency, about building mods, about helping you guys. And Grand Arena is just something I do where it helps me play against other players. It has a competitive aspect of it, and win or lose, I always learn something. And then I did want to talk about where my account was 9 months ago. So 9 months ago, this is where my account was. I was at 3,302 skill rating, and my GP was at 7.9 million. I only had 3 GLs, and I just unlocked JML. So 4 GLs, 7.9 million 9 months ago. But where am I now? So that was like, what was my skill rating? 3309. So 3309 was my skill rating. Kyber 3. So where am I today? My skill rating 3309. So I gained 7 skill rating in 9 months. Does that frustrate me? No, it doesn't, because the game is massively different than it was then. I don't see myself being in the bottom of, or the top of Kyber 3, the bottom of Kyber 2, because I constantly bounce in and out of it. I don't see that as a failure. I see that as a success. And even though I am in the same place that I was 9 months ago, the landscape and the rosters I'm playing are completely different. And what has changed is, even though the players I'm in the same league, the players I'm playing against are completely different. They're much more competitive, much more established rosters. And honestly, I think if you're in Kyber, you should have a developed roster. So it's not, to me, when I first climbed into roster, I was like shocked. I was like, wow, I don't have anything. How am I here in Kyber at the highest rating in this game? And while that may be an unpopular opinion, I don't think where I'm at in the game right now is bad. I don't. I worked hard. I have a decent win rate. I punch up constantly, and that's just where I am. And it's fine for me. It's not a big deal. So you may feel like if you fall into a rhodium that you're failing, or you fall into chromium or bronzium, don't feel like it's failing. Like, it's just have a different viewpoint of what these leagues are. I know we've been playing for forever, so we kind of have this ingrained feeling of like, hey, this is what a bronzium account looks like, and this is what a chromium account looks like, and this is what a Kyber account looks like. And now just, it's going to take some time I don't know if they're going to anti-squish us or squish us, but in the long run, who knows? Maybe they'll unsquish us and then squish us back and then unsquish us, and our viewpoints of what these leagues are going to change. So it's going to be fluid. Right now it's not looking great. It's very difficult to stay in Kyber, and that's fine. These crystals that we get aren't so crazy that you have to get upset that you can't stay in the league that you used to, because the landscape has changed. And not only that, as we play this game, like, our accounts change, everyone's accounts changing. So you're not only competing against what your viewpoint of what a Kyber roster is, like, you're also trying to grow your roster faster than everyone else, because as this game gets older and older, the accounts are going to get bigger and bigger, and your success is going to be based on how fast your account grows and how competitive you can be. And it's just a hard thing to do. And this game mode, I think, should be competitive. It's just a difficult game mode. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't be upset or that you should accept losing over and over. All I'm saying is, if you look at your records, you're probably still hanging around 50% win rate. Just know that, like, hey, yeah, it's not the best, and sometimes you're going to be frustrated, but learn from your mistakes, learn from your lost matches. If something, you hit a wall and you couldn't break through, then start farming something that can counter that wall, and then sooner or later you will have a roster that can compete at the highest level if you continue to play smartly. Because I've seen accounts that are like 8-9 million punching up in like high Kyber 2, higher than I am, through very, very good datacrons and mods and also ships. So and don't feel like, well, I'm hanging where I'm hanging because I have all the new things. I really don't. I don't have the Imperial Assault. I don't have the Imperial Remnants. I'm missing 2 GLs. I don't have the Great Mothers. I don't have Balin. I don't have a lot of these Conquest characters built up. I don't have Maul. I don't have DTMG. I don't have the Gungans. C, Gas, Lord Vader, Bad Batch, Ufus, Bo-Katan, Mandalore. So don't feel like I'm competing because I have all the new things, because I have almost none of the new things. I'm farming as efficiently as I can, but like sometimes it just takes time, and I don't wail out on this game. I just like smartly spend a little bit, about like $100 every month on average, not including if they have assault battles. Now it's down to like $30 a month. So I'm not spending a crazy amount, not including Lightspeed bundles, of course. So just know that if you spend smartly, you buy Lightspeed bundles, you farm mods, you unlock Jabba, you invest in your mods, you invest in some datacrons in an okay level, at least like engaging in them, then you can compete at Kyber. It's just, is it fun? Do I sometimes hit walls of players like over and over and over again, and it kind of wears me down? Sometimes, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. So I even tell my chat sometimes, like, hey, it does get tiring, always punching up. I feel like I'm just Hayukin, you know, like I'm just constantly uppercutting these ridiculous accounts, and it just is the way it is. And I took a step back a while. It was a few months ago, actually. I took a step back and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play this game how I want to play it. I'll try to be as efficient as possible, but I'm just going to go heavy on offense. I'll put a few things to trip up some people, and I'm just going to full clear everyone is what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to come in and I'm just going to like lay waste to my opponent's defense. Hopefully I don't drop a battle and I can beat them. And it's kind of like a Hail Mary kind of thing where you really have to know your counters. You have to know what you're doing. But if you can always full clear your opponent, sometimes my opponent can't full clear me and I win. And sometimes they are just better players than me and I lose. But usually it's not because their account is better, because every single account I'm playing against has a better account. Like, every single player has a better roster than me. But you can win through strategy, through mods, through datacrons, through having all the ships and being able to effectively put like the best ships on defense while off meta countering the rest. So just know, while this is difficult and frustrating, that there are ways to enjoy this game where you can continue to punch up, you can continue to engage, but you need to take those losses on the chin, learn from them, and keep on moving. So let me know what you think in the comments if you think I'm like way off base and I'm just like out of touch. But I do think that if you play this game and you find aspects of the game that you love, that you'll continue to be able to enjoy it for what it is. So thanks everyone for listening, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.